Our lives today is like we all are living inside a very big or a giant operating system, right? Why I'm saying operating system, you might have, or you all are using computers, smartphones, where you will see screens, pages, windows, multiple things happening, right? Multiple applications running. Few are open, few are not open, and every time we get some sort of a notification, either it's a WhatsApp or it's a message or maybe any sort of a notification that can come from an application. Similarly, in our life also we play different roles. Maybe I will equate those roles as maybe like tabs, right? Like a professional, parent, friend, caregiver, a social being, and every window needs some sort of an attention, correct? When we play different roles, these roles also need some sort of an attention. And like in a computer, like the shortage of memory, this can happen in computers, right? In phones also, the phones will come slow, computers will not respond. Similarly, our inner memory sometimes gets exhausted, right? And in case of a smartphone, where these apps are appearing, where these notifications are appearing, they all are appearing on a single screen. And in that screen, most of the things appear and disappear, correct? And is this screen is getting affected due to these applications or pop-ups or notifications? Similarly, in our life also, different applications or tabs are endlessly juggling, to-do list or checklist or sending emails or some distractions or thinking about bank loan or EMI or how will I meet those money requirements, health related issues or family related issues. So continuously, we all are consuming good, bad experiences, sweet, bitter experiences. And at the other side, if you carefully look at yourself, other side we are also able to see, oh, I'm getting burnout these days, I'm getting distracted, I'm becoming nervous, I'm feeling more stressed these days. Or sometimes, oh, I'm feeling happy these days because my mood is also getting changed these days, or I'm getting excited. Like that mobile screen which is not changing irrespective of those applications or the tabs or notifications, we are also able to see that there is a silent witness inside us, where that witness is saying, I am excited, I am nervous, I am stressed, I am feeling happy. And this mobile screen, if you see, this screen never gets affected due to any of those pop-ups or notifications. Similarly, this awareness that we have, so the awareness is able to give this kind of notifications that I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling bad, or I'm becoming nervous. So are we aware of this? Are we seriously looking into this? Are we paying attention to this awareness? That's where our Upanishad, one of the Upanishads, there is a beautiful allegory of or a beautiful image of two birds sitting on the same tree. This metaphor comes in the Mundaka Upanishad. The two birds sitting on the same tree, and these two birds are very united and they are very close. They cling to the same tree, and among these two birds, one bird is sitting at the lower branch. Maybe for the sake, we can say the bird which is sitting on the lower branch, the lower bird, and this lower bird is tasting different fruits, because lot of trunks are there, lot of fruits. The possibility to taste one by one is more. It goes and peck one, right? That would be sweet. Then again it goes to another one. That could be a bitter one. So it's running across the branches and trying out different fruits. Whereas this lower bird in between looks at the higher bird which is sitting on the higher trunk. That bird is always cool and calm, not interested like this bird which is going everywhere in terms of trying out different things. It is just merely the upper bird is merely unconcerned and unattached. Whereas this lower bird going everywhere, trying, tasting, getting a mix of experiences. This comes in the Tridiya Khanda of Mundaka Upanishad. Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishasvajade Tayoranya Pipalam Swadatti Anasnan Anyo Abhijagashidi. These two birds, they are very close. That is what this mantram says. Both of them are living perched upon the same tree. And the lower bird, as I mentioned, is fully eating, pecking upon the fruits. Other one is not eating. Other one is without eating. That bird is just looking. Both are on the same tree. They are friendly. So the higher bird is the truth, the consciousness, the Brahman. The lower bird is what? Lower bird is the Jiva. Both are friends in our body also, the higher truth and the lower truth. Both are friends. The lower mind or the lower bird is tasting, eating, whereas the higher bird perceives, feels, able to see the changes. What are these? The meaning of these fruits? When we say fruits are of mixed taste, these are the life experiences that we all are undergoing. Whereas the higher bird is always the witness, just sitting down and able to illumine all these experiences. As I mentioned in the beginning, Sada Nirasta Kukagam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Able to illumine our feelings, perceptions, or able to see the different taste of the fruits, sweetness, soreness, bitterness. The unattached bird is what? The unattached bird is the consciousness that is there within all of us, so called as God, Ishwar and Brahman, seated in our own heart. And not only in our heart, everywhere in this world. And the bird that is eating these fruits, sweet, sour, bitter, etc., is what? Is the individual soul. Or we can say the individual body, mind, intellect, sense complex. So these are the two phases of experience that is going in everyone's body. One is basically the consciousness that is totally detached. That is what is happening in the deep sleep, without anything, without any activity, totally detached from everything. That consciousness is there, and that consciousness is there every time. And the other consciousness, the so-called jiva, that is very much involved, like this lower bird going everywhere around, eating, trying, testing. Similarly, the lower bird, this lower jiva, experiencing the different life situations. And this tree is basically a symbolism of our life. And the experiences coming in all of us, like up and down, or joy or sorrow. And this lower bird is actively engaged in life, always moving from here, there, moving from one branch to another branch, reacting to the sweet, reacting to the bitter, different taste. This basically mirrors our own life, identifying with experiences, identifying with different emotions, identifying with achievements, or sometimes failures. Sometimes, we ourselves think, why am I a failure like this? Or sometimes we think, am I really great? Or I got this success. Very good experience I am getting these days. And this higher bird is not eating, meaning what? The higher bird is not at all reacting. It is just watching. It only watches. It is calm. It is detached. And this higher bird is ever present. This consciousness is ever present. It is watching. So the higher bird is what? The higher bird symbolizes the pure awareness, the true self that is beyond these experiences. So the true wisdom out of this story that we have to inculcate is that the true wisdom is in recognizing that we are not this mere lower bird. We are not mere doer in life. But we are the witness. We are this higher bird. That is why the lower bird looks at the higher bird, and ultimately the lower bird goes to the higher and gets merged. So this self that we are experiencing in our life is not separate from the self that is watching, the companion bird. And the true realization comes when the lower bird recognizes its true nature as the higher bird, the pure awareness. See, this two bird, you may ask, what is this metaphor? Why it is brought here? This is the apparent duality of human life. Meaning what? Active self versus witness self. And this active self will dissolve into the witness self when one gets that realization. What is that realization? My own identity is the pure consciousness. And you cannot think that these two birds are two standpoints, right? Or maybe like two different entities. We should not consider like that. It is the same tree, same body, mind, intellect, sense complex. So I told this story sometime back in one temple, and after this lecture, one pure devotee, right, came to me, sir. You told about this higher bird, and are you saying that I should stop eating in life? Because this lower bird is always eating, trying different things, and the higher bird is not eating, and finally the lower bird got merged with the higher bird, went up to the higher bird. So are you saying that I should stop eating from now? The story is not about stop eating or you know running away from life. It is about changing the perception, changing the coordinates where we stand while we live in our life. It is not about renunciation of our actions. It is all about renunciation of misidentification. It's all about act fully and just detach inwardly. That's all. It is all about discovering the freedom, not by changing the life's experiences, but by changing the identity that we create within ourselves. Where am I keeping the identity in my life? Am I keeping the identity with these changing things like these fruits that the lower bird is experiencing in life? And later the lower bird realizes that the Jiva Brahma Bhedam, the difference between them, ultimately the notional difference getting bridged. Jiva Brahma Abhedam. That's what the Mahavakyam Tattvamasi says. You are that, you are not different from that. Now you are temporarily identifying yourself with the lower bird, the lower mind, and you are now seeing yourself as a limited individual. And we are this silent witnessing bird. We are that. We are not this busy fruit eating bird. This busy fruit eating is just a temporary activity that happens in anybody's life. It is just a temporary play in life. And we are not those experiences in life. We cannot get trapped ourselves in those experiences in our life. We have to rise to that level that we are this awareness in which the experiences happen. Now, Bhagavad Gita as a Shastram is equipping us through this story. I'm just trying to bring the perspective here, how Bhagavad Gita is equipping us. How does this understanding express itself in my daily actions? What is that benefit? Mainly about renouncing the false sense of doer-ship while we are doing things. Verse number 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chedasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigadajvaraha. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chedasa nirashihi nirmama bhutva yuddhasva vigadajvara. So, mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chedasa. You completely absorbed in me. Me meaning what? In the Atman, with the higher truth. Completely absorbed in that higher truth and without any expectations. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. So if you see the meaning, mai sarvani karmani. Unto me all actions you offer sanyasya, basically renounce, adhyatma chedasa, with a mindset that is discriminating. What is needed here? You need to have a discriminative intelligence in life. What is this discriminative intelligence we are referring here? Is basically the nitya anitya vastu viveka. What is permanent in life, what is not permanent in life. So with that understanding, you offer everything to me. Mai sarvani karmani, you offer everything to me. Renounce everything with the mindset that is discriminating, that is adhyatma chedasa. Nirashihi nirmama bhutva, devoid of expectations, devoid of the sense of mindness. Yudhasva vigadajvara. So Arjuna, you get a fight without any anger or frustration, without the fever of ego, without the fever of expectations and the mindness. You fight and you perform all actions for my sake, my sarvani karmani. And with what you need the adhyatma chedasa. You need to have the mindset that is discriminative. Surrender all actions to me. With your mind resting in the self, with your lower bird resting in the higher bird. You be free from desire. You be free from selfishness. You be free from that mental fever. What is this mental fever here? The expectation and the mindness. Like in the lower bird, always thinking, tasting, trying different things and undergoing the experience, whereas the higher bird is always calm. Why am I getting this kind of experience? So when you understand that I am that higher truth, so what do you need? You need to see, you need to look at that truth. That is where you surrender all actions to me. With that clarity, freed from desires, freed from the selfishness, and don't have this mental fever, the expectations, the mindness, and you engage in battle. You do your work. So don't think that this is only for Arjuna. You do your actions in this life with this understanding. Surrender all actions to me with your mind resting in that self, resting in that higher bird, with that knowledge, with the adhyatma chedasa, freed from desire, freed from selfishness. So here, my sarvani karmani sanyasya. You drop the psychological ownership. Nirashir nirmamo bhutva. You free from the the demanding nature and the possessiveness nature, and you do action with this clarity and let your inner burden dissolve. That is where you surrender everything to me, my sarvani karmani. Let that inner burden dissolve. You do the action. You be free from the demand and possessiveness. You drop your psychological ownership. You dedicate all actions to the higher truth, that higher self. And you make yourself free from the expectations and ego. And you just act. That's it. So when one operates from the level of individualized existence, it is quite natural that we get stuck at that level of desire. We get stuck at that level of lust. We get stuck at that level of greed. We will be looking for, or we will be longing for, possessions in life. And when this knowledge comes, the adhyatma chedasa comes, the jiva gets matured. Like the lower bird found the higher bird cool and calm. That needs some maturity also, correct? So let me ask a question. If you give a small baby a piece of paper and a pen and ask to write a poem, will that baby be able to do that? Tell me, practically. What that baby needs, the baby needs toys, that's it. So what one should do? Allow the baby to play with the toys. At some point of time, the baby will say, I'm too much grown to play with those toys, correct? Similarly, when one grows in that awareness of one's higher nature, slowly it will happen. When one starts acquiring that knowledge, this is a subtler knowledge. So in that evolution, this trivial old egocentric nature will start going away of their own accord. And it will not happen just like that. It happens through consistent study. So adhyayam is needed. Mananam is needed. Sravana, manana, dhyanam. It is needed. These things are needed. Through study, reflection, through deepening the understanding of our Vedantic knowledge. So that's how the lower bird ultimately understood that how can I become that higher bird? How can I be that higher bird that is very, very cool, composed, not affected, not jumping from one branch to another branch? And the rest in the Mundagopanishad, the next verse, Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno anishaya shojadi muhyamanah jushtam yada pashyadi anyamisham asya mahimanam idi vida shogaha. Samane vrikshe purusho nimagno. So in the same vriksham, in the same tree where Purushan is the higher truth. In the same tree, the Purushan is there, but the individual jiva, the lower bird is trapped. What is the meaning here? The jiva is trapped in the world of body, mind, intellect, senses. And anishaya shojadi muhyamana, due to the sense of helplessness, the individual jiva is deluded and grieving, crying, getting affected. The jiva is deluded. Though in the same tree, Purusha is there, the higher bird is there, but the lower bird, due to what? Due to sense of helplessness, it is deluded and it is grieving. Jushtam yada pashyadi anyamisham. When this soul, when this jiva sees the beloved upper bird, the other bird. Who is the other bird? The Lord, the consciousness. Where is that? It is in the same tree, it is in the same body, it is in the same body of all of us. It's in the same tree. Asya mahimanamidi vida shoga. When jiva recognizes the glory of the higher bird, and it is same as its own true self, the lower bird becomes free from all grief. The lower bird is free. The grief departed from the lower bird. Jushtam, meaning what? It is always present. The intimate consciousness which is there, it is always there, Jushtam, ever present. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in Chadusloki, we can see Bhagavan Sarva Bhudanam Adhyaksho Avasthido Guham, always present. Yada Pashyandi, Yada pashyati. Meaning what? When the lower bird sees not just physically, and lower bird recognize the higher bird, what happens? That notional distance is bridged. There is no difference. I am that higher bird. And will that mean the bird or the jiva should stop acting in life? No. The change that has to happen is basically stop acting as the lower bird alone. You act, but place the action at the feet of the higher bird. Are you all with me? That is what here the sloka says, Mai Sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chedasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigadajvara. Verse number 30, third chapter, Karma Yoga. Verse number 31, Ye me madamidam nityam anutishtanti manava श्रद्धावंदो न सूयंदो मुच्छन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः ये मे मदमिदं नित्यं अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्ता अनसूयन्तो मुच्छन्ते ते अपि कर्मभिः. So those, what is the important word in this verse is Shraddha. So here, if you see the meaning of this verse, ye me madam idam nityam. So those who are constantly following my teaching, not Hari's teaching, it's Bhagavan Krishna's teaching. Anudishtanti manava, those who follow, manava, the people who follow constantly, consistently in my teaching, Shraddhavanda Anasuyanda, people who have faith, Shraddha. Anasuyanda meaning those who do not find fault, those who don't find a fault, Muchyante te abhi karmabhi, they all are freed from the hold of karma bhalam. Those who are full of Shraddha and free from prejudice. That's what we can say. Those who don't find fault, meaning those who are free from prejudice, those who don't find fault in my teaching, they have full faith. They all are freed from the hold of karma bhalam. And you need to see why some people are having prejudice, because their ego is very deep rooted, and that ego is not allowing them to grow. So for them, the ego wants to have a full control or a total escapism in life. What we need to understand here is, any actions that we do, we all know this, the side effects of any action in the form of ragam, dvesham, kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, attachment, aversion, doer-ship, enjoyer-ship, any action will create this karma bhala or karma kalanga or malinyam. There is a way to get rid of this bondage, so that it takes us to freedom or perfection while we do the karma. That is all it's called as karma yoga. But what you need? You need to have Shraddha in my teachings. So here in this case, you need to understand Shastram is Bhagavad Gita. Shastram or Bhagavad Gita gives the vision. Scripture gives the vision. And Bhagavan Krishna as the Guru gives the method. Shastram, Guru, and you need to have Shraddha in yourself, like in the lower bird looking at the higher bird. You need to have Shraddha in yourself that I do have a potential within me, I do have a capability within me. How this confident or how this bird is, the upper bird is confidently sitting and eating, sitting and not doing anything, whereas I am jumping from one thing to another thing. So that is where the jiva, the Shraddha comes in that lower bird, which is giving a confidence to look at the higher bird and to walk the path. Getting me? Shastram gives vision, Guru gives method, and Shraddha in oneself, in the self, will give the confidence to walk the path. And we need all these three. If you don't have a Shastram, if you have a Shastram, Bhagavad Gita without a Guru, without knowing what Bhagavan Krishna is telling actually, then we will get confused. Shastram without a Guru is confusion. And a Guru without a Shastra, somebody who is talking, blabbering something without any connection with the Shastram, then it becomes a cult. So we need the grounding with the Shastram, grounding with the right Guru. Shraddha in Shastram will tell what the truth exists. Right? Shastram like Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Prakarana Grantham, everything will give what tells us that this truth exists. Shraddha in Shastram tells that the truth exists. Now, Shraddha in a Guru shows how to see this, how to realize this. And Shraddha in myself will assure that I am that truth. That is how the lower bird could ultimately go to the higher bird and realize that. So, Shraddhavando anasuyando muchyande devi karmabhi. Verse number 32. Ye tvedadabhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me madam sarvajnana vimudhamstan vidhi nashtana chetasaha. Ye tu edad abhyasuyantaha na anutishtanti me madam sarva jnana vimudhan tan vidhi nashtan achetasaha. Those who are critical, ye tu edad abhyasuyanta, meaning those people who are critical, they just find some, or they do have a prejudice, they don't value this. Na anutishtanti me madam, no, meaning my vision is not followed due to their, what is that, prejudice. Sarva jnana vimudhantan, they are, they are deluded. Vidhi nashtan achetasa, they are lost because they are devoid of discriminativeness, or they are devoid of discriminative capability. So here the meaning is those who are critical of this teaching, who are prejudiced and do not practice this teaching of mine, meaning Bhagavan Krishna, are deluded in all realms of knowledge and devoid of discrimination. In this context, discrimination means what is wrong, what is right. They are always ignorant of that and know them to be mindless and ruined. So Bhagavan Krishna says, though this is a negative connotation, Bhagavan says that those who follow my teaching will get a way out of bondage. The entire teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So by applying these teachings, one will be able to see who truly am I, and with that knowledge one can apply this teaching in various situations of life. Such people will grow in strength. Will we be able to grow in strength, grow in inner strength, and will we be able to carry the duties in life irrespective of difficulties with a very small smile. This is the possibility. What do you need? You need two things, Shraddha, and you need to have the Adhyatma Chetasa, what is right and wrong, what exists forever, what you should do to know yourself. Don't get stuck by the don't get stuck by having the attitude of only the lower bird. Right? Doing things are needed, but at the same time you need to see who truly am I. Am I this struggling, suffering mind? Am I this limited jiva? Am I this limited jiva? And what is my true purpose? When one sees like the higher bird, the Shraddha in oneself, Shraddha in Shastram, Shraddha in Guru, one will be able to go to the higher realms. This is the possibility that Bhagavan Krishna is advising. Use your Viveka Buddhi. Verse number 33. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya pragrudher jnanavanavi pragrutim yandi bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakrite jnanavan api pragritim yandi bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Even the wise, Bhagavan now says that very, very practically trying to inculcate the knowledge in all of us through Arjuna. Even the wise act according to their nature, to their prakriti. Suppression doesn't help. Prakrite jnanavan abhi prakritim yandi bhudani nigraha kim karishyati. Let us take the example of a parent. A parent cannot run away. Parent should take care of the children, cannot renounce caring of the children. So the build of a parent when they have the children, they cannot run away from their responsibilities. Correct? But that build, you leave it. How that knowledge can bring a difference? What the parent can do, they can drop the emotional over identification. Emotional over identification on the children. Similarly, somebody who is entitled to do some activities in life, they cannot run away, because they're based on their nature, they are getting the kind of a work or roles in life. Even a jnani also, correct? They all, everyone should follow the life as per the prakriti. As per prakriti meaning what? As per their nature. And there is no point in forceful restraint. There is no accomplishment over a forceful restraint, because when we say nature, we need to understand nature meaning the body, mind, intellect, sense, ego, complex. And this is very unique to every individual. The nature is very unique. It is a mix of these gunas, sattvam, rajas, tamas, the influence of the body, mind, intellect, sense, ego, upbringing, the traits. That is why that realm is called as a prakriti. And these things, basically, the influence of all these things make actions to happen through our mind. Influence of all these things based on your body, mind, intellect, sense, traits, the upbringing, everything, right? Those influences will act through the mind. That is how the karma happens through an individual. Correct? We cannot change those parts, but what we can change is basically through the knowledge. It is not again about running away from your stipulated duty. You cannot run away. Only difference that you can bring is basically inculcating this knowledge. Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekam. Who truly are you? Are you this lower bird? Once upon a time, in an ashram, in this saint's ashram, this saint kept a cat and a rat. And this saint is always peace wanting or a harmony wanting saint. See, otherwise, this cat used to bother the rat, and right now this saint told we have to have a culture in this ashram, peace and harmony, and ask this cat, don't harm the rat, don't eat the rat. Violence is wrong. You have enough things to eat in this ashram. Don't try to harm the rat. So days passed, and this saint, he went for some lecture, some pravachana outside. Saint came back. While going to the pravachanam, saint was feeling very proud. Even a cat is following, right? No harming of rat happening in my ashram. So they are living harmoniously. So even this saint felt proud that even a cat is now, or even a cat can be taught dharma, what is right in life. So now the saint came back, did not see the rat in the ashram. Now ask the cat, hey, what happened to this rat? This cat told, oh, I did not eat the rat. I did not mean. Hey, what happened? The cat told, I just, smelled a rat. Then I just touched it. Then I hold it. Hey, Guru, rest of the things happened naturally. So the climax is basically, the conclusion is, the cat cannot leave its vasanas, its prakriti. Though I smelled, I touched, and ultimately it ate the rat in the absence of a guru, in the absence of the saint. So, can the mere instruction change one's life? Change has to happen through inner knowledge. The svabhava, the nature, will override. So, what is really needed? The deep knowledge, the solid knowledge, the real conviction should happen in all of us. Verse number 34. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavastidau tayornavvasamagachet tau hyasya paripandhinau. Indriyasya arthe ragadvesho vyavastidau tayo na vasham agached tau hi asya paripandhinau. In every sense objects, you please understand that there are two enemies, natural enemies in every sense objects. What are those natural enemies? Ragadvesham, attachment and aversion. They are natural in every sense objects. So what is the advice here? Bhagavan says that one should not come under the sway of ragadvesham, because they are the enemies for our growth. Likes and dislikes are like in in MS Office, when you buy Windows operating system, Word and Excel is already installed. Similarly, Raga, Dvesham, both are preloaded in the system. Similar, if you go back to the story of cat and rat, cat says, I did not eat it intentionally, it just happened. So likes and dislikes will come every time, and they are the greatest enemies. So one has to come out of this. Even a simple thing in our life, if we are doing some active work, and if we decide not to look at my mobile notifications, that needs tremendous willpower. I will not look at my phone, whatever notification comes, whatever is happening. Even for 10 minutes. This needs mindfulness. We need to have tremendous willpower. Otherwise, what will happen? Distractions or emotions or likes and dislikes will become the agents to control us. So, Ragab Dvesham, that's what Bhagavan says, they will take away the wealth of a sadhaka, take away the wealth of a person who is trying to grow in life. So be vigilant, be awake. So once we have a control on this ragadvesham, we will no longer get attached to the objects for the sake of enjoyment in life. So what is that? Like in the lower bird understood that I need to be like a higher bird, where the higher bird is not at all affected by anything, and also understood that I am one with that bird. The knowledge of oneness must be there in all of us. When this knowledge of oneness comes, the ignorance of the duality will go away. Mind will become free. Mind will be free from attachment. Mind will be free from aversion. Mind will be free from likes and dislikes. Mind will become free and mind will get established in the higher bird. The mind will get established in the self. Next verse, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanishtidat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. So one's own dharma. So you may feel that, why am I doing this? Why am I, having this kind of a work portfolio, or why am I, be in this situation, etc. Don't worry, because you don't try to change your dharma, though you feel that it is imperfect. It is always perfect, because there is no point in doing somebody's dharma. Even if you feel that I can perform well, don't do that. Dharma of another should be feared. You should execute your swadharmam. Right? Some of us, sometimes feel that, my work is inferior. So work is not the problem here, because the work is coming just according to the nature of the person. Svabhavam. Right, we can see that in this verse in the 18th chapter. You can see svabhavam niyatam karma kurvan apnodi kilbisham. You can also see lot of stories in one of the classical stories of classical character in the Mahabharata, Dharmavyada, who is a butcher and a jnani at the same time, doing the butchery work from the childhood, because that is inherited from his father, taught by the father. Though Dharmavyada is doing the butchery work, he is serving his old parents with devotion and do the work honestly. So dharma is what? Dharma is the role. Dharma is the responsibility. What is important is basically the attitude. Attitude is important. So when I say attitude, attitude is all about renouncing the ego. So you be authentic, not be or not. Don't try to be impressive in life. Be authentic in life. So through doing swadharmam, you see satisfaction in life, because work or the outcomes of the work is not that something which is making you happy. You understand your true nature, your true potential. You act in life to do the swadharmam. Technically speaking, our swadharmam is not to just get lost in the work and in this world. You act in this world according to your role and nature, with the awareness, with the responsibility, with the inner clarity. Don't identify yourself with those things in life. Inner non-identification of the Prakriti, non in the sense N-O-N, not K-N-O-W-N. The inner non-identification is our swadharmam. You try to understand who truly are you. So what is the real swadharmam? Real swadharmam is gaining freedom in this life by knowing the true self, like the lower bird understood the higher bird and reached or went towards that. So my real nature is what? My real nature is beyond the body, mind, intellect, sense, ego complex. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avshishyate. Om Shanti Shanti.